Good morning or good afternoon to all of you who are joining us today. This is the 10 a.m. session for Steam Next Fest Q&A. I assume most of you guys are here for the upcoming Next Fest, which is in October. But if you've got questions about Next Fest in general or about our future Next Fest in February and June of next year, feel free to put those out in the Q&A session. Today you've got myself, I'm Ria. I sit with the Steam business team, and our job is to answer a lot of emails and help connect, you guys and your games to customers and help make that customer experience as best it can be. And I've also got another person with me today. You want to do
Hi, I'm Adil. I'm one of the engineers on the theme team. I work on some of the tech that makes NextFest live and some of the theme sales that you participate in. So I'm here to help answer some of those questions and dive into some of the tech and actually listen to some of your ideas. We can always make NextFest and theme sales better. Oh, there you
go. Trying to figure out host duties on the fly is not easy. Anyways, before we get started on your questions, just wanted to do a little bit of a recap of what we're going to see for October's Next Fest, because we're doing something very different. So if you've seen Next Fest before, we used to have a bunch of tabs up top for each sort of genre of game that exists out there. We are trying something different. So a couple of the changes that are coming with this Next Fest include: one, we're putting that all on one page, hopefully making it easier for customers to browse games. Two, we are sort of de-emphasizing live streams, so there's no official live stream schedule anymore. You can stream when you want, whenever you want, and you don't have to worry about trying to schedule with us anymore. And that will be on its own tab as well. And something we haven't talked about, but is probably worth noting, this Next Fest is looking to be our biggest one yet. We typically see somewhere in the 12 to 1,500 titles register. Of course, when it comes to the actual Next Fest, we don't often get that many people actually participating. This Next Fest is much larger. I think we're currently looking at 3,000-ish titles participating.
3,206, and there's 300 more who've also shown interest but have not submitted a demo.
Yeah, so lots more this time. Hopefully this new system that we've got set up makes it easier for customers to find the games that are interesting to them, and all of that. Anything I missed, Adil, before we get into questions?
Just the note that you're competing with everybody else in Next Fest. So larger Next Fest means there's a lot more titles for customers to browse, and we're doing our best to surface as many titles that are relevant to each customer. And I want to draw like 2 tips right at the beginning. Like, you really want to have a trailer. Please, if you can, put a trailer together. There is a new piece of tech that we're still working on that will showcase games that have trailers. Without a trailer, that will skip your game. So please do create a trailer. And second, please tag your game. Very important. You can use the opt-in page to tell us your category, but run through the tag wizard. Please tag your game so we have a better chance of showing it to your customer. So 2 pieces right off the bat. Let's begin.
All right, let's get into questions. Again, please put those in the Q&A box and not chat, since we won't be able to see them there. Let's start off with Ellie, who has a question. What is more important for visibility in those first couple of days of the event's wish lists or downloads? That's a tough question. Most of Next Fest in those early days is going to be totally randomized, so neither would be the answer there. We always do have a section at the bottom that is sorted. And actually, we tend to have options that sort by both wish lists and downloads. So both is kind of the answer here. Typically, I think people tend to focus on wish lists, since those have more longevity in terms of helping visibility on Steam. There are more sections on Steam sort of after Next Fest that look at wish lists versus downloads. So you could use that as your metric, but both is good if you can.
One quick point on top of that. there is tech we're working on that will limit itself to the first couple of days of Next Fest when recommending later Next Fest. So that tech is ready and being tested. How we deploy it, that's still up in the air, and we're discussing the best way to make it a good experience for customers. But we recognize that we want to use the data we gather in Next Fest to help recommend later in the Next Fest. I guess I can take the next question. It's from Anonymous. Will games that participate in Next Fest have higher priority for store presence and demo build reviews? To my knowledge, no. You want to get your demo and store review as soon as they're ready. It's put in the queue, and our team works as fast as they can, but don't expect special treatment because you're going to Next Fest. Lots of games have different reasons to launch on Steam.
Paul's got a question. Does the press preview require the demo to be live on the Steam page? No. So you are all opted into the press preview by default. You can't un-opt into the press preview unless you want to remove your game from Next Fest entirely. Whether the demo is live to press is entirely dependent on whether the demo is live to Steam customers. So we don't give press early access or special access to your demo. So it's going to be entirely based on whether that's live or not. So make your choice there if you want to do it early or not. There's nothing special about the press preview other than press getting sort of an early look at what games will be participating.
One quick point on top of that. When you launch your demo, you have 14 days. Like when you first launch a demo, and if you have an independent store page, you have 14 days to fire a notification to your wishlisters. Probably should wait till Next Fest starts if you can to fire that email to get a bunch more visibility. You don't necessarily want to fire it during the press preview because we're directing press to that page. So there's one tidbit. This is actually from Alex Solo. Considering Next Fest is 7 days long, will each day be dedicated to a different theme or genre? It's an interesting idea. Currently, no. We have the carousels and sections organized in a certain way, broken down by category and theme, but no specific day is to a specific genre or theme. It's an interesting idea. I'll take it back to the team and see if there's something we can do here. Thank you, Alex, for the question.
We've got a question from Enrique. When looking at the Steam Next Fest preview page, we've noticed a number of games showing that have been past Next Fest or are releasing before this upcoming Next Fest. Is this a bug? Well, let's put it this way. There were some games that were part of Next Fest prior to, I think, June of 2022 that are allowed to join Next Fest again. And this is because the once per lifetime of a game, that rule did not come into place until 2022. So anyone who participated before that gets another chance. So that might be what you're seeing there. And then for the second part of the question, which is, are you allowed to release your game before Next Fest? The answer is no. But the preview does not have understanding of that, if that makes sense. So it may say, hey, this game is going to be launching before October's Next Fest. But if it does actually launch before the event starts, then we are not going to be showing that item within Next Fest once it's actually live. But again, this is just a preview. So it's kind of showing everything, and not all of it is going to be eligible when Next Fest starts.
Are there any, so another question from Alex. Are there any tools or best practices that can aid us in increasing our visibility on the Steam store page throughout the event? Put your tags in, make a trailer, do a great job describing your game. All the things you'd expect in a good game and a good store page is what you want. You can have events. It'll surface to your fans. It may increase excitement, but there's no one magic bullet that'll make you shine to the top. Our goal is to use customer interest to sort of help other customers discover your game. So we're trying to look at lots of data points to make those decisions. So sadly, there's no one tool, there's no one secret I can tell you.
And then we've got a question from Ellie. Would you recommend doing a major announcement, like a release date announced, just before, during, or after Next Fest? It depends on your own game's cadence. You will certainly have more eyeballs on the page during Next Fest. However, that's going to be a lot of sort of general audience members. So, if you think that'll be important and, the general public will care, then during might be the right answer. But after is when you're going to have the most number of, new wish listers who are interested in your title. So, it depends on your announcement cadence and what else you've got lined up for marketing. But I don't think there's a right answer there.
A anonymous attendee says, "What determines the ranking on NextFest pages?" I think we alluded to a bit of that. There are different lists that are sorted by player, live players, players in the demo, wish list. There's sections that are totally random, and that's based on your tags. There's things that are recommended, and the tech we're trying to roll out. We're pretty confident we will, is by observing other players' behavior and finding players like them to recommend games. But this is super personalized. So one person may see game A, another person may see game B. But in our world, I think that's ideal. We want to direct your games to your customers. This is not really beneficial to show you to random people who may not care about your game. Not a satisfying answer, but I hope it lets you know there's not a secret magic bullet or something you wouldn't expect.
Yeah, just in general, our philosophy on NextFest is, we're trying to make sure we're giving even visibility to titles that are participating where possible. So as Adil mentioned, the first few days of NextFest are going to be entirely randomized. And then after that, we're going to try and put some smarts to it and start showing your title more to people who are likely to, play your game specifically. But that's kind of our philosophy in general when it comes to the event page. So there's very little you can do to try and show up higher in the general NextFest queue because that's totally randomized. So just make sure you're putting your best foot forward. Your store page and your screenshots and your trailer are representative of your title, that your demo is snappy and it plays well and is a good, demonstration of what your base game is. And, hopefully if you've done all of those things well, the right customer will come find your game. And then we have a question from another anonymous attendee. Is there a rough estimate for when we will get the assets? I assume that this is the press kit social media set. Soon is the answer. Sorry, we don't have those up yet, but we'll get those up for you in the near future.
Another question from Alex. Our game has horror elements and launching October 30th. Do seasonal elements help our discoverability when showing up in NextFest? No. There might be more customers who are looking for horror games in October, but that won't influence specifically our showcasing.
Oh, Alex, you had a bunch of games. Alex asks again, what are the benchmarks for NextFest discoverability success? I think we've talked about this already. There's a couple different sections at the bottom that will be sorted by things like wish lists or demo downloads and all that jazz, but we're not going to tell you what those are now, mostly because we don't want you to try and game the system. Just make sure, your game performs well and you're trying to give visibility to it and let the system handle the rest.
Karen has sort of feedback to us. Hi, the link preview to October NextFest page appears not to be working. We're dealing with a bunch of bugs. We're trying to add some new code to improve our ordering and sorting. So it may go up and down as we are testing things out. This is to get everything ready for the actual day. So we apologize for this uncertainty. And if you do see bugs on those pages, do reach out immediately. We're trying to get this up and running. So there's a bunch of tech we want to roll out and we want to make this a great experience. So you might see this go up and down.
Next question, again from Alex. When can we expect to hear back on when and how we're showing our game at NextFest? As mentioned, we do have a preview page that is sometimes working right now. We're working hard to get that fixed up, but you should have received an email with a link to that. I'll also drop that in our general chat here. Be sure that you are logged into Steam. This page is hidden for anyone who is not participating in NextFest with the title. So
Another anonymous attendee, is there anything specific we need to submit to press preview? The answer is you have to, on the opt-in, opt into the press preview, and two, you at the minimum need a store page. So a public store page, super useful. The press can make decisions. You can optionally also have a demo. A related question is, do press automatically get access to demos? No, you have to ship a demo for them to get access to it. So it's up to you. But a store page is the bare minimum so they can see what the game's about, and they may put it on the list. A demo may help them if they choose to download it, but you can make the call if that is valuable or you need more time to polish it.
Sorry, I'm trying to answer some questions over text since we have answered them live. Next question. Have there been any changes to how NextFest categories are prioritized visibility-wise on the Steam front page or the Steam store? No. NextFest exists as its own thing, so it's not going to change how the Steam homepage or the Steam front page operates. But we will be, of course, featuring NextFest on the homepage of Steam during that week. So lots of traffic will be coming in from that homepage, but it should not be changing how the front page is working, no.
So anonymous attendee, regarding trailers, do we need to upload them somewhere specific, or are they pulled from the regular assets? They're pulled from the regular assets. So we choose the first trailer that you submitted, your primary trailer, and we'll use that in our new tag, and that's the one we choose for the micro trailer. So if you hover over a game and you see a short jumping clip, that is the first trailer you have. You can always reorganize and reorder your trailers. So that's your choice, but it's regular upload. You upload same place. Now, one sort of nuance is you're allowed to create an independent store page for your demo. In which case, if you want to upload, in that case, if you do create an independent store page for demo, you need to upload the trailer to the demo store page, because now we're pulling from that. So it gives you the advantage that you can have a trailer specific to your demo, if that makes sense. If you don't have a independent store page for your demo, we will use the base games trailer.
We've got a tag-along question, which is, our game doesn't have a trailer yet, but we will get it live just before NextFest starts. Is that a problem? That's not a problem. However, that does mean your game wasn't eligible to be selected for our NextFest trailer, which is not a big deal. And it does mean that anyone looking at the press preview will not have a trailer to see for your game. So, we can't guarantee that press are looking at trailers at all. So it may or may not matter depending on the individual press person. But no, it won't impact you or your visibility in NextFest proper.
Timo asked a question, are we able to disable a demo page? I'm assuming that's a demo store page, even while the demo is live. I think so. I can double check with my colleague. I know you can't change the state of your demo store page when you deactivated your demo. So yes, I think as long as your demo is active, you can hide your demo store page.
And then we've got another question from Timo. Is there an option to disable user reviews on a demo page without disabling the page altogether? No. If you have a separate demo page, you get reviews by default. You can't hide those, and that is the intended way for it to work.
Here's another question from Timo. Is there any difference in the way demos with separate store page are visible on the store compared to one without? The difference is where we pull the assets. So if you have screenshots in your base game, you have screenshots in your demo store page, we will pull this demo store page assets when we do hovers or display your demo anywhere on the store. So the description there, so the short description, the trailer, and the screenshots will be used. If you don't have a demo store page, then we use base games. So that's the difference. But it does not influence our decision to show a demo in a carousel or a sales section or the free and trending sections. So you don't absolutely need a demo store page, but if you do, we use those as descriptions.
We've got a question from Matt. What is the last day to submit a build/demo for October Next Fest? There are many different dates and documentation. First, sorry that we confused you with documentation. The real answer here is there's no official last day to submit your build for your demo. You just need to get through build review before Next Fest starts. So it kind of depends on what you're looking for. So if you want to participate in the press preview, you should probably have all of that submitted by September 30th. But if you're only looking to participate in the full event with your demo, then you need to give yourself some wiggle room ahead of the start of the event on October 14th. So the 9th might be cutting it close, especially if there's any back and forth in between our build review team and yourself. So if you're comfortable with where the build is, submit it early. Remember, you can always actually update your demo build after you pass build review. So you're not locked into the build that you submit to us. You can make updates after the fact. So if you're in a good place now, it's complete-ish and it doesn't crash, feel free to just submit that early. And you can make updates, add content and all that jazz later down the line.
Since we are talking about demos, if Alden was here, he'd say, please leave your demo active even after Next Fest for a while. Customers discover your game in Next Fest and may not have an opportunity to play right away. The longer you keep it alive, the longer the chances the customers who have downloaded have a chance to try it out. We totally understand your choice. You can deactivate it whenever it makes sense. But there's benefits in leaving around to give customers an opportunity to play it. There's a question from Loke. Am I saying that right? Roaring Luck? Cool name. Is there advantage to having multiple trailers as opposed to one? That's really a question for you. Like we use the first trailer for any sort of snippet we show in this new feature or on Hover. You may have multiple trailers to show different parts of the game. Doesn't matter. Maybe a gameplay trailer, maybe a multiplayer trailer, maybe a thematic trailer. That's kind of your decision. We only use the first one, whichever one you prioritize to begin with, on any tech on the store or on NextFest.
We've got a question from Matt. With NextFest growing in size every event, has there been any consideration into extending the length of time of the event? We're definitely thinking about what we can do. So that is one of many options. Once we've come to a decision on what we want to do or if we want to make any changes, we will for sure let you guys know. But for now, no changes to the length of the event or how we're organizing it in terms of like the suggestion earlier on each day being a specific genre. But, it's good feedback. If you've got any more, we're happy to hear it. I don't think we've got a perfect answer. So looking for any and all feedback on that topic.
Yeah, like with the summer Next Fest, if you participated, right after the event, we will have a recap page you'll see on the partner dashboard. In it, there'll be an option for a survey, and we'd love for your feedback. This Next Fest is different from the past. It's bigger than the past. We'd love to hear your thoughts. We are actively working on Next Fest and all sort of sale tech. We'd love to make this better for both you and customers. It's an active mission for us. We don't think we've got it perfect. There's always opportunities to make things better. And these suggestions will be circulated amongst the team, and we'll try to help. We're trying to help discovery and try to make this better for all customers. I'm going to switch to the next question, Marta. And I think he or she has added a bunch of questions. I know wishlist followers amount is not going to have a big impact as for the previous Next Fest, but I'd like to know if at all it'll take into account for discoverability. I wouldn't say no. We will be so the answer we get is we use customer interest to make recommendation decisions. And there's a machine learning algorithm that's going to use a variety of data points. And if anybody knows anything about machine learning, it is kind of like a magical black box that we feed it as much data as we have available, and it spits out answers. So it does include wish lists, includes followers, includes page views, includes impressions, includes things that we don't think are interesting, but it may. So we don't have an exact answer. But going back to Ria thing, we do have two lists, one based on wish listers and one based on plays. That's tabs that people can select to explore next best. Can you tell something about the best tag practices? Use the tag wizard. Please use the tag wizard. Please tag your game. You don't have to tag your demo separately from the base game. If you tag your base game, the demo will take those tags. If your demo is significantly different than your base game, maybe you cut out multiplayer, maybe you made multiplayer only, you then want to tag your demo. So it's better to be discovered by your customers. And if the demo is significantly different, you may want to consider choosing to make a demo store page so it's super clear to customers what they're getting. And can you share some insight on the main page structure? Are there any changes? I'd love to share insights, but we're actively investigating and trying to understand what the right structure is. In the past, as Ria mentioned, we had a major section, which was the schedule. Wow, my hands got weird. They had a section called the schedule widget and then had a large broadcast. That's gone. It's on a different tab. There's no schedule. That's a really big change. The carousel that'll appear on the front page, that's kind of up in discussion. The dev preview is what we think right now, but we're hotly debating what the best way to show customers and highlight your games on the front page of Next Best is. So I wish I had an answer, but we're trying to do our best right now.
To tag along on the topic of best tag practices, shop around. I'm sure there are a few games that you consider similar to yours. I would go and take a look at what tags they are using. There are some tags on Steam that are useful, but maybe not really descriptive at this point. I think indie is a tag that gets used quite a lot, but I don't know if that necessarily tells customers very much about what your game is. So you might want to focus on things like different kind of gameplay tags, like is it a roguelike? Is it a deck builder? Is it a FPS title? But the best thing to do is shop around and look at other games like yours and go see what they're using. And then we've got a question from Benjamin. I've seen the preview for the October Next Fest. Is there a way I can check where a game might appear to customers within the page if we don't yet see it? If you don't see your game on that page at all, please write in to us and we can help identify and make sure that it is actually in there. I'll drop the link to our support in the webinar chat. Other than that, it should be totally random based on your tags, of course. So you should expect to see your game in a category based on what you submitted during registration, and then the sub carousels in there are based on tags. So if you don't see your game at all in there, you may be missing the right set of tags, or you may have forgotten to opt in with a category. So be sure to triple check your registration if you're not seeing it.
Yeah, that's actually good feedback. Maybe we can add a button to help you discover on Nexus if you're part of it. Maybe we can help it for you to discover. I'm taking that as a note for us to think about. I'm going to jump one question ahead. Mo is there any trailer design best practices for Steam algorithm optimization? I'm going to paste the link about trailers, and the crux is gameplay, gameplay, gameplay. Get to gameplay so people can see the meat of your game as soon as they possibly can. Our micro trailers do cuts trying to skip past any sort of logo or ESRB rating. We want to get to the meat. And I think as a customer myself, many times I want to see what your game is. I don't need to see a cinematic trailer. I don't need to see things that are not about your gameplay. That comes later. So if there's any recommendation, it is gameplay, gameplay, gameplay.
We've got a question from Joel about the press preview. One, is it a physical press event or is it strictly email? It is strictly email and online outreach. There's no physical event. Two, if our demo slips a day, are we completely out of the press preview, or do you expect press to trickle in after your outreach? We totally expect people to come in late. So again, you can't opt out of the press preview. So your game will be in there, and then it's just a matter of, whether your demo is live when the press person happens to take a look at it. So not a problem to be a little bit late. And three, is press outreach about specific demos, or are you sending press to the landing page and letting them discover demos on their own? We are totally letting them do their own self-discovery. We are not going to try and write a blurb about all of the games that are participating. Also, we'd probably be pretty bad at it. So it's they basically get a version of the preview page that you guys all have access to now. There's a little more instruction for them there, but basically they get to browse sort of at will, the same way you guys get to look.
So Connor has the question, do you recommend a separate demo page, or is the demo on the main store page fine? Does it matter for next visibility? The question has no impact on visibility. We don't use that for any determination. We don't really have a recommendation for you. I think that's for you to decide if it's useful. We opened up the tech in hopes that different parties will experiment and discover their own rationale for it. We don't want to be prescriptive in this space, but has no impact to visibility. So you don't have to have a separate demo store page. A related question, I think, is a little bit later down the line. If you do have a separate demo store page, when someone does click your game capsule on NextFest, it'll take them to the demo store page. But our assumption there is there's something there to help customers learn about the demo that's more relevant than the base game page. Oh, that's the question.
You press the button. Do you want to answer it?
Yes. The user will be taken to the demo store page if it exists.
Brian's kind of got a follow-up question to that, which is, with all of the updates to Steam demos, will having a separate store page improve your visibility in NextFest? And will NextFest promote games based on demo reviews or demo scores? No, is the answer. Do what makes the most sense for your game, whether that's a standalone page or not. NextFest is not going to be taking that into account when it comes to how your game is sorted on NextFest. However, I will say, even if the algorithm is not looking at things like your review score, customers certainly will be. So if your review score is not in a great spot, I feel like customers are more likely to bounce off of that page. So something to keep in mind as NextFest goes on. You probably want to keep an eye on how that's doing. I'm not suggesting you remove your standalone page if that number starts dipping into the red, but it is a good barometer for how much fun customers are having with your demo. And so if it's not going great, you may want to see if you can hotfix some changes.
Craig's got a question. We are planning to release our demo for the start of NextFest. Would it be better to release sooner than that? We won't be ready for press review, but we could launch a few days before NextFest start. I guess it depends. The true answer is no. Launch whenever you're ready. There's a nicety answer. By launching earlier, you can de-risk it. If there's any last-minute publishing issues or surprise bugs when it deploys out to the real world, you have a few days to make corrections. So there could be a reason there. There is tribal knowledge that the wish list or things you gain before NextFest can influence. It may influence some of the sorted lists, but our hope toward tech is to eventually reduce and eliminate that influence so that we only look at NextFest results to suggest other players. So the answer I want to go for is you don't have to.
Another question from Regan. Do we recommend having a dedicated demo standalone page, or should we just have that bundled into the base game store page? It depends, and it's totally up to you. I don't think we have any data showing one way or the other that this is definitely the thing to do. So it's kind of up to you. It is a relatively new feature, so I think people are just starting to explore what the differences are between having a standalone page versus not. So up to you. Just make sure, regardless of which one you pick, that you make it easy for customers to leave you feedback. That's the most important thing, I think, out of this demo period. This is a chance for a bunch of strangers to play your game. And this is a great time to get feedback from a bunch of people who aren't your friends and family on, is it fun? Do you like this character? Is it too slow? Is it too fast? Is that HP bar too high? You know, you're not going to get this amount of feedback from pretty much any period of time on Steam other than NextFest. So be sure to take advantage of that and make sure you've got a place to collect all of that feedback.
Another question from an anonymous attendee. is a preview page that is open for dev working the exact same way as the public one will be, reading data from your preferences, et cetera, et cetera. How literally should we take it behavior for the actual event? No. We're actively working on improving the technology that we will use for the public Next Fest. The way I'd look at the dev preview is my game appearing on it? Is it categorized correctly? If there's some change that I should make, because now I get to see it in a different format, that's how I'd look at it. We will keep updating the dev page as we improve the tech. There is a major component that's actually missing that we're actively developing, like the trailer system, and that might not come to the dev preview. That might launch on NextFest itself. We're not 100% sure. So we're still tweaking. This NextFest is much specialer than previous NextFest. New tech's coming into play. The reading data from your preferences, that's not active in this NextFest. So sorry, in the dev preview. It will be in the live one.
I've got a question from Brian. I'd like to better understand how live streams are being implemented for this Next Fest. Yeah, so in the past, it used to be that there was a schedule. You were allowed to book 2 slots for your title in Next Fest. And there would be a whole schedule that would tell customers what's coming up, who's going to be streaming what, and when, and all of that jazz. We've kind of taken that all out. So now it's sort of a free-for-all. So on the live stream tab, it'll basically just be a big list of games that are running a live stream at this time. The exact format of that is still being tinkered on, but the idea is customers can bounce around and just see what's live right now, rather than forcing you guys to try and schedule for a specific time slot. Additionally, it's probably worth understanding this is no longer on the homepage of Steam Next Fest. It is a side tab now. And we made that choice specifically because I think with live streams living on the homepage, it made it more important than we wanted it to be. And I think we stressed a lot of developers out on trying to get a live stream up and running. And a lot of times you guys are experts in making games and not so much in making live streams. So I think we were just causing a lot of undue stress with our previous decision. So that's why it's on a side channel now. If you've got the time and energy and you know how to do live streams, you're welcome to run it. It's not as important anymore. And I assume there will be a lot less traffic to that page than we've seen in the past. So do it if it makes sense for you. But it should be relatively straightforward now. It's either you're live or you're not. You don't have to book anything. I think Adil's having issues with his...
Oh, it's back.
Oh, there you go.
I lost the audio for a second. That was really weird. You want to jump to the next question? So We Could Be Heroes says, my game is more a niche category as the beat 'em up. In the Next Fest categorization, we don't have those sort of categories. How are these categories actually used? Do you just mainly go from the tags there? So the categories are the big titles that people can collect on in the Next Fest page. You can probably see that in the dev preview. Then within those categories, there's a variety of carousels, and we're still merchandising with the hopes of getting more narrower ones that use the top category and then find a set of related tags that could categorize games that are like each other. So you want to go through the dev preview to see where you fit now. And if you have suggestions, do send them out to us and create a ticket. We're not perfect at merchandising. We can learn from you guys. So if you have an idea how to better categorize, we're happy to hear.
We've got another question from an anonymous attendee. I understand that my demo build needs to go through a review process, but are there any restrictions or reviews that we need to go through if we update the build, or is it uploaded and playable right away? You can make changes at any time once you've passed build review, and those are uploaded and playable right away, which I think is a great feature of Steam. You guys can make changes really quickly, and you don't have to rely on us to re-review your thing if you're just fixing a typo. That being said, we don't re-review your build, which means you got to make sure you're going through your QA testing, make sure you didn't introduce any new crashes or bugs. So be careful. You're totally welcome to make those updates right away. But if you're making some big changes, make sure you're giving yourself time to QA that change, maybe test it on a few people on an internal branch first before pushing it live.
I think there's a follow-up question, possibly from the same anonymous attendee. Is it okay to patch your demo with fixes and bugs during next test? Absolutely. If you find a bug and you can fix it, and you trust your fix, go ahead. If you want to release an update, if that makes sense, like you learned something from people playing your demo, go ahead. I don't think there's any harm in making your demo better for the next set of customers. It's a week-long event. Different people are showing up at different days. Totally fine to take learning from the first one if you have time and trust your ability to get it done and ship it later. You have an opportunity. As we mentioned, we don't re-review, so you'd want to be testing as much as you can before you release. So I think totally fine to patch your demo. Totally acceptable.
We've got a question from Benjamin. Is the Next Fest page content localized to customers? And do we surface games with the store page and assets in each region? So this is actually the same way Steam works across the board. So not specifically for Next Fest, which is anything that we put out is going to be localized. So the header of the event, any descriptions, the names of the carousels, all that jazz is going to be localized. Anything that you guys localize on your store page or your trailer or your screenshots and your assets, we will surface that to the right customer if you have it. So let's say I'm a customer and I have Spanish selected as my language. If you've localized your store page into Spanish and you've got your assets in Spanish, Steam is going to show that to me in Spanish. But if you don't have that and you only have your game localized into English and French, I think we default to English, and that's what I will see as a Spanish customer. So sort of is the answer. If you've got time and space to localize your store page, it is something that we always recommend, especially if your game plans on supporting it in-game. So be sure that your localization reflects what the main game is going to be able to provide.
Yeah, the key is we will reflect it to your customers. The next question from Anise. Is it really important to give a demo before 30th of September, or can I push the demo before October 14th? You have a choice here. As long as you get through the build review and you have a demo, if it's store page ready, you're part of NextFest. You don't have to ship it before. You're totally welcome to if you want to participate in press preview. If you want to test it out, that's all up to you. There's no requirement. It just has to be live when NextFest starts. And also, we recommend you keep it live throughout NextFest. And we definitely recommend you don't ship your game during NextFest because that will take you out of NextFest.
Automatically. So don't think you can be cute and be in NextFest and then launch your game and get the extra visibility. It will be automatically taken out. So don't try that with us, please. You can launch the second after NextFest is over. That's totally fine. Please do not launch during NextFest. The next question is about the Steam algorithm influencing visibility. I think we've talked about this quite a lot, so I'm not going to deep dive into it again. But, our goal is to show in the beginning, before we have any data, we're going to show all games equally to customers and let them run, wild on that. After a certain point, we're going to hope that we have enough information for our ML system to be a little smarter about it. And so we're going to start recommending games to you that we think you're more interested in. So for me, for example, I don't play a single FPS title. It's not my jam. It's not my thing. NextFest in the beginning is probably going to show me a few of those because it's totally random. And the idea is by the end of NextFest, once we've got all of this data, NextFest is going to start showing me things that I do care about, like farming simulators and puzzle games and things of that nature.
Really, Ria? So, farming?
You know this. Anyways, that's the goal, at least. So hopefully this helps answer your question.
Another question from an anonymous attendee. Do concurrent player numbers on NextFest demos affect performance of the main product launch? They don't think so, not directly. Definitely not the concurrency. Like if you reach 1,000 concurrent versus someone else reaches 100 concurrent, I don't think that has any effect downstream. We do have there's something called the CLN browser, that might be an internal term, but there's a browser toward the end of the front page which has different tabs based on ordering. It does show the most concurrently played demos right now. For some users, that's interesting, not for all users. But I don't think it doesn't have any impact on the launch of your main title. There could be a side thing, like if more people play your game in general, they wishlist and they want your game, that might have impact, but not the concurrency during Next Fest.
Brian had a question that we've already answered, so I'm going to skip that. Sorry, Brian. Question from an anonymous attendee. If we do not have a demo build, can we still live stream our game through an internal build of the game? You can absolutely live stream whatever you want, but if you do not have a demo uploaded and live for customers to look at, you will not appear on the Next Fest page. So, yes, but no. You do need a demo build to be part of Next Fest.
If our trailer goes live tomorrow, will it be included in the press push? Yes. Keep in mind, we're not telling press, look at this game, look at that game. They're coming at their own accordance. They're coming on their own schedule. They're browsing the way that makes sense for them. There might be some influencers or press folk that like, I'm super interested in a certain category game, and that's all I'm looking at. There could be others who are more general. We don't dictate how they explore the page. We just make it available, and they can use the same tool customers have to discover, to watch trailers, to play demos, and make their own call. We're very laissez-faire. We make this page available and see what happens. Often we discover during Next Fest, it gives press time to, here's my top 10 list, here's my top 20, here's my favorite, here's my hidden gems. All great stuff to get more visibility to your games.
Another question from anonymous attendee. If I upload my trailer too late, but before Next Fest starts, will it not appear in some algorithms during Next Fest? No, Next Fest should be real up to date. So as long as your trailer goes live the minute before Next Fest starts, it should be appearing in Next Fest appropriately. Now, keep in mind, trailers can sometimes take a couple minutes to upload, and then there's a little bit of a delay between the upload and when it goes live. So we would not recommend doing it last second, but a little bit late is fine.
Just to add to that, like when you send us a trailer, we do transcode it. The machines have to run, do their things. It has to get to our indexing system. So there's always a layer to publish your store page. Little steps that take time, and then our caches have to update. So as Ria said, don't do the last second. It's totally fine. Like, hey, we learned something. We want to update a trailer. Totally go ahead, update your trailer. We'll serve your old trailer until the point we have a new one to serve. That is totally fine. Next question. What is the criteria for games that appear on the upcoming releases? I'm guessing that's the front page tab you're talking about. And what is the cutoff for release dates? This is, there's two parts. There's at least a level of popularity because you're competing with other games that are releasing. And then it looks to any release date that's in the future. If there's a lot of games that are releasing tomorrow that are super popular, that list is going to be full and it won't get to things further into the future. If there's less, it'll go further on. Hopefully, it's not a very satisfying answer. It's really hard for us to predict. Games launch all the time on Steam with different levels of popularity. There is a separate upcoming release hub that's definitely not as popular as the front page, and it is a little more forgiving on level of popularity. So it shows a lot more games. Ria?
Next question from Superframe. Oh, I love questions like this. Okay, I am planning on using Steam Next Fest to improve visibility, perhaps to be seen by a publisher or investor. I've seen a marketing company say that going into Next Fest without traffic is a recipe for not being so successful. In your mind, does it make sense to use Next Fest to build traction, or try and build traction and wait for another time? This depends, which is the worst answer in the world, but it really does depend. I think going into Next Fest super early on in your game's life cycle is probably not the best idea. You probably want to have done a few builds, done a few small scale tests by the time you reach Next Fest. You can get a lot of great feedback during Next Fest, which is really good. If you are, facing some kind of existential question with your game where you're looking for signals from customers on, is this even fun? Do I need to change my strategy entirely? NextFest can be a great time to get that kind of feedback. However, it is something that you only get one shot at. So if you use your shot early and you use it to gain a lot of feedback on the game and what direction you should go in, it does mean as you approach launch, you're not going to have another opportunity like NextFest to get a lot of visibility on your upcoming title. So it depends. I will say we do not allow any second chances in NextFest just because your first one was not good. Unfortunately, we already have a lot of games participating, and we are trying to not overwhelm customers. So it depends. I would say definitely not super early on, but whether you want to use it for feedback or as your sort of last marketing push before launch, it's up to you and your game and your circumstances.
Is it fine? So Ryan asked, is it fine for a demo to be available for Nexus? Yes. Launch it whenever you're ready.
All right, I'll take the next one. Alex has a question. We want to do an event at NextFest, but we're not sure about a live stream. We're more comfortable with publishing a video with the devs talking about and then announcing the game. Is this normal? Yeah, it's totally normal for game developers to not be live stream savvy. Like, it's not your skill set. It's not something you guys do a lot. So it's totally fine to pre-record a video and stream that. Or if you don't even want to, go through the effort of figuring out, how to get live streaming set up and all of that, totally fine. You can upload that as another trailer's probably not the right place to put it, but you can make an announcement and put the video in there. Customers landing on your store page will always see the most recent 2 announcements that you've put out. So, you're going to get good visibility on that video anyways. Just keep in mind that people are less likely to click links that take them out of Steam. They're here to look at games. So if you're taking them off of Steam, they're maybe a little less likely to click on it. But it's totally normal to not want to do a live stream. And the changes that we've made to where we're putting those live streams is an effort to make it so you don't have to.
Question from K-Storm Studio. How players can discover our games on Fest? It's just like how you discover a game on Fest. You browse through sections. We will learn, we know what players like, and we'll try to surface the games to them. Our goal is to connect your game with your player. We'll be learning in the first couple of days of NextFest, and we'll be using machine learning to make better and better recommendations later on. I'm going to also jump to the next question from Brian. Will demo review scores affect later days of NextFest? I don't see a review tab on the chart. The new demo store page is new tech. We haven't used that to influence any section on NextFest. Will it affect the machine learning? Maybe. I think it's data that we're pulling in, but it's hard to tell with machine learning what actually drives its decisions. So I don't really have a great answer there.
I'm seeing a lot of questions about the trailer for your demo. I'm actually not super sure about this. Is there somewhere for them to upload a demo or a trailer separately to their demo?
My thought is yes. I'll look right now.
Okay, pause on all of those questions as Adil looks at it. So sorry to the people at the top of the Q&A stack with those. Okay, moving on. Question: can we choose to send an email to the players who wishlist our game when we release the demo? Yeah, we actually just recently added that capability. So when you release your demo for the very first time, you do have the ability to send an email to all of the wishlisters of your base game about the release of the demo. 2 things to keep in mind. 1, there is a 2-week cooldown on sending emails to customers about the same game. So what that means is if you're releasing within 2 weeks of when you send that email, the release email is not going to send to wishlisters, which I think we probably all agree is much more important. So be sure you're not doing that within 2 weeks. And then number 2, if you send that email to players during NextFest, I think we've got some slightly fancier email templates for customers there. So you may want to wait, but it's totally up to you on when you want to send that. But you only get one chance at it. So be sure to use it appropriately. I will keep answering questions.
No, it doesn't look like we have a trailer tab on the demo store page. I'm wondering if that's an oversight by us. Wow, I
Okay.
assumed there was one. So I'll go back to the engineering team and let's see if we can add that, because I think it's reasonable to have a separate trailer for your demo if the content of the demo is significantly different. So sorry, we don't have it right now. So the answer in the past should have been it uses the first trailer on your store page, and if you can get the tech done in time, it can use the first trailer on your demo store page. Thank you for asking the question again. Wow, I totally messed that one up.
It's a good feature request. Next question. So there will be a stream tab, but no schedule. How do I make my stream show up in the stream tab? Automatically. You don't have to do anything this time, which is nice. So as long as you're streaming and you're streaming to your store page and the game is in NextFest, it will automatically show up in the stream tab. You don't have to fuss with announcements or tell us what time your stream is going live. You can just show up, set that thing live, and it should show up on that stream tab. I'm not going to promise immediately, but very quickly.
There is a certain lag as things in cache and refresh. You might have a related question. Well, if I don't have a scheduled time, how do I become the featured video? And that's a little harder because I think we're going to use a bit of randomization here, where whoever goes to tab will flip a coin to see what game they see. Not great, but as a customer, I can then explore and see what other streams are available at that point.
Got a question from Max. Is the data that is used for NextFest also collected before the start of NextFest, aka should we release the demo before the start? There is at least one chart that looks at how many people are playing your demo. When NextFest first starts, it is going to be looking at data from prior to NextFest. So if that matters to you, you should/can release your demo before NextFest. Other than that, it shouldn't really matter. So it just depends on your marketing plans and what you've got planned on that front. So no firm answer on that one. Kind of depends on you.
How long should a trailer, Jembor asks, how long should a trailer be for this tech? At least 6 seconds. That's the min bar. We need at least 6 seconds of trailer to be able to create a micro trailer. May actually need 12 seconds. Is there a specific time that is a perfect trailer? I don't think we have an answer to that. As long as you can show your gameplay, that the tech I was mentioning will create a micro trailer from your trailer, and that'll be the first thing we show. And then once the micro trailer ends, it will switch to the trailer. A person on the tech could decide to stay and keep watching the game, or they can let it auto advance to the next game. So I think it's not a great answer, like a min bar of 12 seconds, I think. And then you decide how much content is worthwhile to show your customers. I would not optimize for this widget. I'd build a trailer that articulates and shows the gameplay of the game and gets your potential customers excited about it.
All right, I just realized it's 11, so we've got a lot of questions still. Unfortunately, we didn't get to the end of it. I'm going to answer one more, and then for all of the rest of you, if we did not get to your question, I'm super sorry that we weren't able to get to it in this hour. However, you can contact us and the rest of the team through our support ticketing tool. Everyone is surprised to hear this, but when you submit a ticket, there is a chance that Adil and I will be answering those tickets. Like, it does go to us. So feel free to send those to us in the support channel, and we can help you after this. But the last question to close out this one is one that I wanted to call out. IGN asks, is the increased number of games in this festival mean more popular games are joining, or are the extra games mostly less popular? And I wanted to answer this one because the answer is we don't know. We don't look at NextFest in that way. All upcoming games are allowed to participate. We are seeing more games participate in NextFest as a comparison to the number of unreleased games that are out there. So that's been interesting for us to see, but we can't give you any confirmation on if that's more popular games or just less popular games coming in. So thank you again for coming to our NextFest Q&A. We are actually running another one of these at 5 p.m. Hopefully it's a different set of folks so we can, cover more time zones with that. If you had a burning question, you're welcome to join us again at 5 p.m. Pacific today and ask your question again there. But otherwise, thanks for coming by. This will be on YouTube in some amount of time. And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye all.